Hello everyone, hi. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing some sci-fi things, and I'm also going to be trying to test out my new add-on. It's actually not that new. It's the texture designer add-on. I've changed it a bit and also renamed it to now trim sheet designer. I'm going to be testing it out while making this, or making a sci-fi scene just to see, and also doing some hard surface modeling. Hello, Mima. How are you doing? I'm first on live. Great. Okay, so let's just get right in as more people are entering. Yeah, so I'm using Blender 3. I'm not sure if you guys have checked it out, but I think it's a very big improvement. Anyway, let's get to it. So I have a few sci-fi reference images that I'm looking at art station here, and yeah, I'm going to get some inspiration from here. See some of these objects here look quite good here, and let's try to do something like this maybe. But this time I'm going to be using my trim sheet add-on, which is the Deco Designer add-on. I previously called it Deco Designers. Hello Sat Globe, hello Victor, the NDG. Yeah, greetings from East Africa. How is Peru? Bob Bimon, how are you? Hello, Side Adiet. Okay, so let's get right in and start creating some of this. So this doesn't look that difficult, especially if we just first expand this a bit. If we make it, turn on my shortcuts here, apply scale, just start with some rounded edges like this, extrude up like that. So as I said, I want to test. Today I want to really test out my add-on, the trim sheet designer, and I think parts of these we can make with the trim sheet designer. So the way it works, there is just have it. Where is it? Trim sheet designer. I just create a new layer. Let me bring my outliner here. Just create a new layer and design something like this. Let's see. Let me first design something like this here. I design this texture. I'll call it A150. Just some sci-fi looking stuff. Create something like this. What else can we add? Maybe you can add another text here. Just something that will make this look sci-fi. So just do something like that. Now let's find a font that is more fitting. Let's go to my fonts. See if I can find a more fitting font. Hello Burning Bright, how are you doing? How are you? Let's just give these a new material. Yeah, the add-on is still a bit buggy, so but that shouldn't be a problem. Just look at the preview there. New material, call this give this a quick render. I'll save it under my decos, resources, custom decos, text, sci-fi, text, save. Now I can just disable that sheet I also need to make sure that this is within this. So okay, now let's go back to our collection and start working on some texturing. I'll just create a new material and import in my image. So I'll go to my resources, custom decos, and bring the text we have just designed using the designer. So I'll unwrap this using projection, cube projection maybe. And then now to position this, let me just add texture coordinate mapping and move it scale it down. I will remove a bit, just use clip. Where is this? Let's just use UV map. Let's just select a face here. I'll bring my UV map here. Let me just make sure that I'm in the UV editor. Grab this face, just position this like that. This will go in our base color, and we can add a mix node. And I use these. Yeah, something like that. Again, we are trying to make a sci-fi element like this, a sci-fi piece like this. So yeah, if you're wondering what we're doing, let me add a bevel modifier. Just use my quick functions add-on. Now we can continue adding in some details. And just grab this piece, round off these corners a bit. Now, we're not trying to copy exactly what he did, so let's make ours a bit different. I'm going to grab, say something like I'm great burning bright. Burning bright. Yeah, let's make ours a bit different. Just grab this, maybe add a loop here. Something like that. Let me just round off these corners here. Now I'm going to extrude this like this. Recalculate normals. And now what I can do is just grab this and use a boolean. Select this and then use boolean cut. Which one is supposed to be the first? This. Yeah. That's how everything is going to be. We're going to move this up. Like that. And I can also duplicate this again. And first recenter the origin. Just have it in the middle like that. And select this edge loop. Extrude out. Maybe not that much, but just make sure that I'm using even distribution like that. And I'm also going to grab these edge loops here. Just round them off. But before we do that, we can also do this again. Grab this, and then add another boolean cut to have that. And just bring this a bit forward, like that. And I can grab, let me make sure that I shade smooth, auto smooth, and turn on auto smooth for this, and for this as well. Make sure that I have auto smooth for this as well. Make sure that the bevel is above the booleans. Then we can also just round off these corners a bit. So I'll just do Ctrl B like that, and I can apply the booleans for now. So apply that, apply that. We can get rid of this, and we have something like this. And I'm also, let me just add a loop so that I can make use of the mirror modifier. So just select this, remove this side. Let's go resources. Let me save this under sci-fi lab. Add a mirror on the Y. Just make sure that everything is aligned. If we look at this, let me turn on ambient occlusion. Like that. And another thing I want to do is the inside here, let me see, up to around, I can grab, I can add an edge loop from here. Let's see. We want to have these container-like structures as well, so I'm just going to add a cube. Like that, give it an array. Just bring it down. I'm going to round off these corners as well. Just like that. I'll give this glass material. Let me use this. Let me make sure that I have screen space reflections. Okay. Now I also want this kind of segment here, this thing here, going around the glass. So I'm just going to let me see, how can I, the best way to approach that is maybe first to let me see if I grab this entire face up to here, I can insert, and you can see now we have an edge loop that goes around the entire region. Let's extend it like that. As we are now having some issues here, which we can fix by just deleting a few faces and also tweaking this a bit. So I'm going to grab this edge and this, remove them. Okay, I think I pushed my my bevel too much, so let me first insert this up to there, then grab this face and this, just remove them. Hello Ihot, how are you? Now let me remove this face, and remove these. I think we need loops here, so but before you do that, let me just fill it in like that. Then here we're going to need this edge loop. And first remove this edge loop. That goes around like this. And then we can grab this and fill. Let's see. So we can fill that in, and we have that. Now, since we have this protrusion, let me first add this. I think we only need it to go as far there. Grab this edge loop that loops around up to here. Just make sure that it's continuous all the way. So up to around there, up to here. I think we can just use Shift D to duplicate it and then just extrude a tiny bit along the normals. So we have something like that. I will look for a plastic material in my library. Or let me look for rubber. And just apply it. Onto this. Yeah, something like that. Might need to be a bit refractive. Let's give these some thickness like that. And we can grab this base edge loop, Shift D, F. I'll separate it as an object. Just align things up. Extrude up somewhere there. Maybe even round off these corners. Okay, so this seems to be already rounded off, but can grab this face, just push it in a bit. Hello IGS developer, how are you doing? Yeah, this is Blender 2.3, sorry, Blender 3, the official release, and I'm finding it very great to use. Just make sure that this have their normals, and make sure that for this object, this shouldn't have a boolean, but this needs a boolean. Now if I look at this, it's not exactly as I thought it would be. Let's come in here and look at this object. I need the boolean to cut through this, but for some reason it's not really doing it as I expected. Maybe because we don't have enough gap, or because this because the other surface has a boolean, has a solidify modifier. Let me also first make sure that this has enough gap between them. Hello Lex Duo, how are you? Just have something like that, and this can be extended a bit to be like that. Let me look at how this is coming through. Let me first apply the mirror. Should I? Yeah, something like that. Now I think we can apply the bevel should be after everything else. We can apply the mirror, we can apply the boolean. No, we can apply the mirror first, then boolean, and then I can come back in and just let me first merge anything that causing any issue. Let's see what's going. Need to do some boolean cleanups here that are causing some issues. Okay. Just like that, and then we can just remove this side. Let me first make sure that everything looks good this side. Let me look at my wireframe. Trying to see why my bevel is not really working, because I want these edges to be rounded off. Hello sir, how are you today? What are we up to? Yeah, we're trying to create some sci-fi lab. We're starting to create by starting with some sci-fi elements like this, and we can build from that. it seems I'm having a problem with one of my parts. It seems we have a few doubles somewhere, but I can't seem to get rid of them by just increasing. Yeah, I think now, yeah, we got rid of that. Let's add a mirror modifier to this. Yo, thank you for subscribing, One Ahmad. Thank you. Yeah, so we have something like that. Thank you, Justin Jackson. I was subscribing. Really appreciate that. I think I'm also going to drag. Let me see. I need this edge loop here. Let me first get rid of this. Yeah, I'm using Blender 3, the latest release, or the official release, if that's what you're asking. And to grab this face, just okay. Now I want this here, this edge loop here. Oh, just actually we could just add a loop cut. Let me first isolate this. Can add a loop cut around here. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Ecklington. Thank you. I think we can grab this edge loop, extrude along normals, and then I can also grab this edge loop and just make sure that it doesn't extend all the way. Hello, Hilal Mawila. How's your morning as well? It seems we are in the same time frame. Or time what? Something. Yeah, so this is what we have now. I'm just going to grab these faces, bottom faces, I think. Just cut them off, add a solidify modifier to this, and also just make sure that I have auto smooth turned on. And at the bottom I want it to be, let me grab this edge loop, Shift D, F, and then P. Can isolate it for a second. Let me reset the origin as well. Let me first apply the mirror as well. Can insert and just make sure that this is correctly aligned. Can insert somewhere like that. Separate, and we can add a solidify modifier. How are you guys finding the music? Because I'm finding it very, very entertaining. Fits what we're doing here. Yes. Just increase this a bit, and we only need the rim. Does the viewport feel so much faster in Blender 3? Well, I don't feel any difference yet. Maybe because the scenes I'm creating are not that different either. So I'm not sure. I haven't felt any difference yet. If I add a loop cut here. Grab these. And I think we can let me see, let me isolate this face. Shift H, just add a cut. Doesn't think we can add a cut from here to here, and then another one. Like that. Now, the reason I was adding those is because I wanted to add in some detail here. I think I can grab these, insert them like that, maybe rotate them, and then rotate them on the Y. We need to use in-video origins. Push them like this, and we can use, I can just simply grab the same face, this entire piece here, shift, and then duplicate it using Shift D. Just make sure that everything lines up. I can just merge by distance like that. Now this side here, I can just extrude to the corner. Now we can use a mirror modifier again, and this we're going to use a rubber material as well. So we have that. Now we can add an array to this. Like that. Now, again, as I was saying, I wanted to use my Deco Designer to add some elements here. So let's switch to that. I'll go to my Deco Designer. Just switch to this layer. Let me create a new sheet layer. And I want to design some trim sheets that we could use. Maybe create something like this because I don't want to use a lot of polygon detail. So let's do that. We'll just start with a plane. One of these corners. And if you want, you can even go to the normal map just to see how the entire normal map is going to look. Let me just fill this in the back. And I just grab this, move it up a bit. So this is just normal detail that we can add in. And maybe also add in a text. I'll just give this a sci-fi text. Something like that. Now we can add in some extra detail. Let me just use this torus. Let's give this material. I'll just go to my materials here, create, go back to combined, call this, maybe let me reuse the rubber material, and this can also be rubber. So I want this text to also come up in the normal map, so I will give it an extrusion. We can add maybe a sphere there, but this time this would be like a metal surface, very reflective, like that. And let's also just give this a metallic surface. Doesn't metal surface like this. Okay, so let's give this a quick run and see how it's going to come up. So using my trim sheet designer, I can just save this as a PBR texture. I'll go to my resources, call this PBR decos. Now call this one, save. It takes a few seconds to render out the deco because it has to go through the process of baking the decos. It's done. So let's see. Let's go back to our, let me even hide this for a second. Let's go back to our collection, add a new surface, plain like this, and I'll create a new material. Let me just use my texture functions. I'll link my custom decos, resources, the deco we have just created. PBR decos. And I can see how it looks, though I think the normal map is a bit off. Shift N. So this is the ambient occlusion. This is the base color. All the combined. Base color. So the add-on is still work in progress, so I need a few issues I need to fix, but I think it will be very useful in making details like this. You can see you can easily add a bump surface like that. Let me just get rid of this. Where is my music? Now surface like that, then you can add it maybe in your scene like that. Yeah, so that's I just wanted to show you how the add-on is going to work, but yeah, it's clearly still needs a few issues to be ironed out, but yeah, anyway, let's see what else can we do here. We can add in, I like this bit here, so let me just copy that. Yes, but we can make ours a bit different. Just do a quick pushing like that. And we need something in these tanks here. Let me also just set up my camera here. And I'm going to go to cycles. Set up some lighting for this. We can use some HDRI lighting. Looks great, man. Your videos have helped me a ton. Have a great stream. Thank you, Vario. Thank you. Let's use an environment texture here. Just going to grab an HDR image. Let me go with this. So far that's how things are looking. I think instead of using this non-refractive glass, it's faster to render, but doesn't give you real refractions. I'm just going to use a glass, shader glass BSDF to get some good looking glass. Also make sure that this material uses, and go to EV, make sure this is using alpha blend and screen space reflections. Okay, then I'm also going to duplicate this again, but this time this is going to be fluids. Can scale it in a bit, get rid of the solidify modifier, and this, as is a fluid, we can create a fluid shader like that. And now also what is lacking in this fluid is some bubbles. So let's add some bubbles. Let me first go back to cycles for a second. Actually, we can make this a lighter color like that, and using volume absorption, so shader volume absorption, we can give our fluid a more deep look. Also, I think we can use, let me grab this edge loop, Shift D, P to separate it, Shift D and then P. I think if I grab this, I can add in some extra detail to this. Maybe this edge looks a bit like that. Can round off this corner as well. so that ours doesn't look too close to this. I also just give it the same rubber material, and also I use a solidify modifier with auto smooth. You are really talented. Do you have a job in the industry? Well, I use YouTube as my it's kind of like my job. I sell add-ons and do some web design. Yeah, so I wanted to add some bubbles here, and I found the easiest way to do bubbles is use a particle system. So if you have a cube like this, actually we can use the water itself, this fluid itself. We can add a particle system. A particle system here, here of type here, Shift N. And right now the particles are coming from one object, so we need to make sure the particle system is below the array, and also it is under advanced. We also need to make sure that sources, so we make sure to turn on use modifier stack. Hey, do you use quicksource bridge for assets? No, I have my own asset library add-on that I use. And yeah, for the bubbles, we don't want them to be on the surface, we want them to be inside the volume. So we need to make sure that for the emit from, we use volume, and the emit object can be a cube, a spherical cube like that. I'll just apply subdivisions and turn it into a bubble, make it the shape of the bubble I want. I don't want to use that many segments, so I'll decimate the object a bit so that we have the bare minimum. So something like that should work. Now for the particles, to make these actual particles, we just need to go to the render collection and actually render objects and select this. Now the particles are inside, but some of them obviously will come out. So let's scale this down. Actually, a better way to do it, instead of using, because most of the particles are going to be on the inside, but some will come out on the surface. So the best way to operate this is just have another object like this. Let me apply the array and give it the particle system of the particles. So I'll just use that. I'll make sure it's still set to volume, and we can go to randomize the scale, and I can get rid of the particle system on this, so we don't want it there. Nice bro job. Thank you. Amazing art and craft. Hello, Mark Smith. Could you please confirm that you are wearing pants? Yeah, well, actually, the statement just reminded me who you are. Yes, I am wearing pants. It's been a while since you have been around. I'm glad to see you back. Yeah, so now we can even shape the particles to our liking, and I think we have quite a lot of particles. So if I bring this, actually I don't want this to render, I want only the particles, so I will just turn off the instancer. So you can see how our particles look, and I want them to be facing up always, all the time. So I'll go to the particle system, because right now you can see they have different directions. I'll go to the rotation, change this to maybe something like global Y, so that they're always facing up. And we can reduce the number of particles to about 500, and reduce the scale as well. And now we can have these in. I can just move this, shape this emitter around our cube like that. Now I can duplicate this here and here, maybe give this a slight rotation so that the bubbles a bit different, and we need to scale this up as well. So the bubbles, there are usually more bubbles at the top, so you can do that using a vertex group if you want, but I think this is also good. You can increase the particles maybe to something like 800, and you see now if we go in here, you can see how our bubbles look. But if we're using cycles, one thing you will notice is that the bubbles will not render correctly as we expect them. So the best way to make sure that they render is that flip the actual bubble instance normals. Let's see. Yeah, you can see we're seeing the bubbles. Actually, they seem to be rendering okay. Maybe this is a new. Actually, no, they don't seem to be, because this needs its own glass material. So shader glass. Oh, actually, it should be the same glass material as our fluid. Yeah, we should use the fluids material here as well. But we need to flip the normal of this bubble, otherwise the bubbles will render out inside out. So shift N inside, and now if we pause this, if we do a quick render here, I think the bubbles now look more real. And we're going to reduce the density of the volume here and make the water a bit less colored, so that it's easy to see the water. Now we need something inside here. For them, they added a plant. Let's go back to the view here. This looks like a lighter instead of a sci-fi piece. So to make it look like a sci-fi piece, what I'm going to do is just bring my camera back. To make this look more sci-fi, I think we can add a pipe going this way. So to create a pipe, I'll just add a plane like this. Let me first pause the render. IVGen, consider adding a Fresnel node. To what? To what? To the glass. So we want to create a pipe like this. And I'm starting with a mesh because it's much easier to shape the pipe. So I'll use the bevel tool. I think I can just do something like that, like this, and we can shape this pipe like that. And then now I can convert it to a curve object, so that I can increase, so that I can give it a solidified surface or give it a shape. Now we have a glass pipe. I'll also need to give it the same material as our object. Now we need a smaller, so this should have a solidify modifier because this is the glass, and now the liquid, we need a duplicate of this, but without the solidify modifier, and also with a smaller thickness. So I'll just reduce the bevel like that, and I need to apply to make sure that these caps are closed. So I'll have to go in here and under bound caps, I need to make sure that they are filled. So fill both. No, this is What is this? There used to be an option to fill this area here, but I'm not sure why. Is it? It's this. It's under here. Fill cups here. So I'm not sure what this is for. Then, anyway. So and this should be 3D, so that we can move it in 3 dimension. Now this is our glass. Oh, this is our fluid. But we also wanted to have. We also wanted to have these bubbles because let's grab the bubbles here. Shift D. Now all I have to do is just grab the top face, hit Control click, and I can shape the direction of these bubbles like that. Or just use extrude, whichever is faster for you. So the bubbles are going to help to convey that the liquid is in motion. So adding them is quite important. And you can already see how our bubbles are there. Grab. Now if we look at this in rendered mode, yeah, we can see the bubble, hopefully. Let me first hide this and hide this. Yeah, you can see the bubbles. Now the problem is we don't really have a good looking lab right now. Let me first change the fluid a bit, the color of the fluid a bit. Make it murky green. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just, let me first move this to a backup collection, BK. And this piece here, I can have it in my collection. I'll call this lab piece. Now let's set up our lab with walls and everything. Okay, so seems my viewport is very laggy for some reason. I'm not sure why. Also, my bubbles are starting to move out. I need to be inside like that. Yeah, so I'm going to bring the camera out of this collection. Yeah, now we can set up our lab. So I'll just instance our lab. Just have a few of these. Now let's make some walls. Okay, let me just add a loop here. Actually, I want to cut out to fashion this so that it looks like an actual lab. Now maybe let me first duplicate some walls. Instead of the whole pipe of glass, use a cutout area of the glass so that the rest is plastic. We can do that. We can do that. So I'm not really sure why my viewport is too slow when I don't really have that many things in here. Maybe this is a bug in 3, but anyway. We need to have some light. Oh, you're saying, let's go back to the lab pick collection here. So you're saying that some of this should be, not all of this should be glass. So if I duplicate this, can convert this to a mesh, and this can use the metal surface, and we can have a cutout. And we can just grab a sphere, a cutout around here, and if I hide this, so you can use a boolean cutout like that to reveal the part of the pipe. Instead of showing the, is that what you meant? Instead of showing the entire pipe, just have something small like that. And maybe here as well. Yeah, let's just stick with just that part. We hide this, bring back our lab. Now what we are left mostly is just to make our lab look like an actual lab. I'm from Uganda, man. I'm from Uganda. GNR Studio. Hey, can you help me? I'm facing an issue with import assets into my Blender file from Quickstop Bridge to 3. Model texts are not importing properly, but working fine with previous version. Maybe that's a bug with yeah, I haven't tested out Blender too much, the new version too much, so yeah, maybe it's a bug. So I'm just trying to see how we can design our lab to make these things look good. Let me look at some reference images here. Maybe we can create an array of these. So I'll just add this to the center like this. Shift D. Have an array of them like that. Then just create a large cylinder in the middle here. Extrude up. This could be metal. And maybe let's add, let me first center this. Yeah, let me remove this HDRI. It doesn't really look good. Let's just add a few lights here. I'll add a mesh light to light up this scene. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it seems either I'm using a lot of particles or it's my scene, but this version seems to be a bit slow in rendering. I wasn't having the same issues with the previous version I was using. This looks a bit laggy. Maybe it's, the scene is too heavy, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's see. Let's make some walls here. And I also want the walls to have some light. So I'll just grab a piece like, let me grab a piece like this here, Shift D. And we're going to use this as a light. You can just have a few of these in different areas. And we also want this wall to look more sci-fi, so I'll add a few cuts and just shape it. Let me add a point light here. Just give it a different color to accent what we are seeing here, and see. Maybe give it 30. Let's also grab an area light. Just have something like here. Our floor looks a bit too plain. Just going to grab a few of these polygons. Actually, let me just grab something like this. Shift D, P, just move it above the surface just a bit, add a few subdivisions. Control T, actually I can just use the triangulate modifier and then add a wireframe modifier. Just to help us break up this surface and make it seem like we have some extra detail going on there. Maybe let's also have this up. I'm going to go to my library and search for some lights that I could use. Grab this. Dense metal rail, flow wireframe stuff. I think we can do that. I'm going to reduce some of the mesh lighting. Maybe that's causing the render to slow down a bit. Let me look for a metal material here. Yeah, this can also use, some of these rings can use the same material as that, so that we don't have too much light going on. Let me look for some wires. This should also help add some detail to our scene. Just have another extra wire just hanging off each of these pieces, and maybe sinks into this cylinder as well. And so something like that. Let me try something different here. We're going to give these wires an emissive material and see how this would look. Yeah, you know, this viewport is really slow. I don't know. could be my, but this looks way more slower than I expected. Seems to be slower than I expected. I don't know, it could be my scene is too heavy, but I don't think I've made far heavier scene than this. Yeah, this is for some reason not. Has anyone tried using the new version of Blender? Because this seems to hang quite a lot and it's a bit laggy in the viewport. Anyway, let me see if I turn off a screen space reflection, some of the effects, if that would help. Now it doesn't seem to be the case. So what I'm going to do, because I have an old installation of that I've been using before, so let me see if I can, if that would work, just to compare and see if this version of Blender is slower or it's just my scene. So this is a build of Blender 3. So let me see if this is going to be a bit faster in the viewport, because this one is quite slow. Okay. Sci-fi lab. Yeah, let me close this. Okay, it seems to be equally slow, maybe. So it seems my scene is just too heavy, and maybe could be the particles that I used that are too many for the scene. Okay, this is even. I think I know what could be slowing this, so let's go back to the old version. Because I added an absorption into the material, a volume absorption into the these panels, these glasses, that could be causing the issue. So we need to go back to that material. Which should be under it should be the lab. Yeah, this lab. Yeah, I need to remove this absorption. Maybe it's likely causing the issue. Yeah, it was the absorption, because right now I see the scene is at least more responsive. Yes, way more. So it was the volume absorption. Anyway, let's continue with this, see how we can make this scene look even prettier. Yeah, and rendering now has also improved. The speed of the render has also improved, so that's a good thing. I want to see if I make these emissive, so shader, emission shader. Just make them light sources as well. Now, let me also grab these lights, first get rid of them. Come to these, just reduce their overall depth. And to make these Let me also change the material of this. Actually, I want these middle ones to stay emissive. But way smaller. Instead of emission strength, use body heat. And black body heat, is that in the... Where is black body heat? I've seen it somewhere, but I don't remember it. Hello, Desi Art, how are you doing? Let me see. Black body. Yeah, where can I find the black body heat? Because I can't seem to find it. Let me get rid of... Yeah, I searched it that it couldn't add. So if I search for black body, it's a converter, so when I add it, oh, it's there. I think I'll give the wires a different color. And the issue I think I'm having here is my lighting is from everywhere, and we don't have a focus point for this scene. That's why you see we are struggling a bit here. So let me search for a person. Let me just get this lab guy. This is going to be our lab guy. It also seems that my scene is quite large. If I removed those lights, also got rid of these lights here, I think we need to change the direction of these if we want the scene to look better. Just going to grab this, grab these, just rotate them 180 degrees. Like that. Let me also get rid of these lights. So that's our scene with very minimum lighting. I want this to have light. It's very difficult to control the color temperature with black body, so I'm just going to stick with this. Just rotate these, see if those will also help. Another thing we could do is add a light inside this lab itself. So inside here, just going to add a point light. Yeah, so it makes the liquid stand out more, and also the bubbles, which we want to be the focus. Now the background looks a bit too empty, so I'm going to look for some pipes to add in here. Let me just make sure that all my libraries are linked. So bring in some pipes. I'm just going to rotate them. Let me. I should have more than a few pipes here. Yeah. Get these. We can also, since we are creating some kind of a circular room, this pipe here, we can make it go around a curve as well. So just going to give it some subdivisions. Like that. Add a circle curve. Move this to that position and just give it a curve modifier. Just give this a curve modifier, select this, and now I can add an array above the curve. Now I can move this in here as well. Just to add in some extra detail, I can move this a bit down. Duplicate it. Move it up. Just like that. And let's add a big area light here and see how that will affect the scene. Little by little, I think we are getting there. Let me make these walls white. Just look for a tile material. I think it's this.
Watch and create your own short videos. Introducing the shorter side of YouTube, YouTube Shorts.
Let me look at these tiles here for a bit. Look too small. Yeah, something like that. Which GPU is perfect for rendering? I think the more power the GPU, the better. So let me play with the rotational gain of these things. I think we have just too many of these things, so we need like 3. Under 90k US dollars. Under 90k, you seem to have a lot of bucks. You have a lot of money if you're looking for something around 90k, because that's what it means when you are asking under 90k. It means you have around 90k to spare on a GPU. So most GPUs are going to be around that 90k. Okay, so it's not US dollars. What currency is that? Because think the top has too much light. Maybe let me just make it darker. Around 1000. I think a 10. Wouldn't that get you around a 1080 or something? Yeah, something like a 1080. Guess it depends on where you live, but here it could get me. Yeah, definitely gets me a 1080. I think. Let me first go back, pause this to make this look more epic. I think what we would need is to reveal more of this fluid because it's standing out. Let's see, collection, Shift G, collection. Yeah, I think we want to reveal more of this fluid, so what I'm going to do is just extend this so that it's quite long, and I'm not liking how these pipes are looking, especially, so let me try without the cover. Let's just use one cube like this. Yeah, I like the pipes without the cover. They look, I think, better. Another thing we could do is let's go back to this. You are really using Blender? I thought it was clickbait. I don't think it's mostly Blender we use here, so no clickbaiting around here. Anyway, just have this. And this here, we need to rotate. And Let's rotate this back. And I want to also add a light here. Best way to learn Blender? It's mostly YouTube, man. YouTube has a lot of resources. Just have to take advantage of it. Let me also just use one bubble object. Also going to move this here. Then maybe we can have just have more of these in different locations. Yes. Let's just maintain this like this. Or better yet, instead of using this, let's change the design to a cylinder instead. So I'm going to come into this, let so this also has to be a cylindrical shape. Yeah, this can be just going to use a glass material to this. Let's see. Yeah, I've just changed a few things about the cubes here. Let's go back. Let me make this metal. I want it to be metallic now instead of this requires a lot of tweaking, and I think the problem we approach it in a wrong way. We should have started with a lab, and but it doesn't look too bad. Are you renaming objects or for organization? You have to be very careful then. No, I don't rename objects. Have you cleared CG Trader low poly modeling partnership task? Yeah, they sent me emails to become a partner there, but it seems like a lot of work, so I haven't done any of the tests. Anyway, I think today this is going to be the end of the